This is a video that's long overdue. Stick around, you'll see what I'm talking about. Hello again, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. This is another installment of Do-It-Yourself Budget Hot Rodding. For quite some time here on the channel, I have been meaning to do video of changing the oil with Project Spirit. However, it hasn't exactly went that way. These things happen. Here on the Prince Magnum channel, we're used to things just not going according to plan. But that's okay. We have another project out there ready and waiting for us, and she needs an oil change herself, Project Lena. In this video, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about how to change your oil, some different things that you'll need to know, and then from there, we're going to, basically, I've got the video footage. I'm going to narrate it, come back, and we're going to end it in the usual manner, along with adding a few other things that you might need to know along the way at the end of it all. Just basic, usual Prince Magnum video. Here we go. I'll see all of you on the other side of this.
Okay, folks, let's get underway. First things first, get a socket wrench and a socket that's going to fit your drain plug. In this case, we ended up using a half-inch drive with an 11 metrics socket wrench. It took that extra leverage because Project Lena hadn't had an oil change in a while. So I had to put a little muscle into it, and I need a little extra leverage. Once you get the oil draining, be sure you have your oil pan in place before it starts draining, or otherwise you'll have a big mess everywhere. Okay. Now, while I'm letting the camera roll, let's talk about a couple of things. Okay. Number one, do this regularly. If you're like me and you prefer conventional oil, change it every 5,000 miles. Me, I prefer 3, but you can get away with 5,000s. That's just me. With synthetics, they say 7,000. I wouldn't push it past that. Don't listen to the manufacturers, because I've seen there's tons of videos on YouTube that talk about how people run their vehicles way beyond the life of the oil, and then they're replacing internal parts of the engine, so don't fall for that. Also, if your engine has a little bit of age, do yourself a favor, avoid the synthetics if you can get away with it. For whatever reason or another, and I don't see them fixing this problem anytime soon, synthetic oil has a tendency to find an oil leak on an engine and make it worse. I don't know why that is, but just kind of bear that in mind, okay? What was leaking just a little bit before might be 100 times worse when you run the synthetics. Not saying that synthetic's bad, it's just one of the downfalls of running it. Also, when you do an oil change, be sure you change the oil filter too. Some people make that mistake, and they don't change the oil filter, and the old one's not filtering so well. So you're not doing any justice to your engine. Be sure to change the oil filter too. So yeah, just bear those things in mind. Also, figure in for your oil filter at least another half a quart to a full quart, depending on the size of the oil filter. Okay, a lot of people make that mistake and they just fill it up to the amount that's in the oil pan, and then they're running about a half a quart to a quart load. Okay, so all right, take a look right here. Just by removing a simple access panel underneath Project Lena, there's your oil filter. That is actually very easy to get to. Slapped on a wrench, took it loose, and then just put a little dab of brand new oil on it, and then put it back up there. Be sure to check and make sure the old gasket isn't still up there. Okay, after replacing the drain plug, okay, and making sure that oil filter's on there good and tight, fill it back up to the factory specs. Again, if you put on a new oil filter, which I would hope that you did, get an extra quart of oil, okay? Figure in about a half a quart to a quart to fill that oil filter up. You'll start, I know some people make that mistake, but then, they'll fill it up to, the amount that goes in the oil pan, and sure enough, when they start and run the car, then they're like, oh, it's a quart low. Well, you didn't figure in that extra amount, okay? So just bear that in mind. Also, for newer vehicles, be sure you run what the factory calls for viscosity and oil. It's not like the old days where you can kind of play around with that a little bit. All right, at this point, we're just going to go ahead and pour the old oil into a receptacle so we can take it to some place to have it recycled. We're going to also do that with the oil filter, okay, the old oil filter. Be sure that you do this. This is very important. You can get into a lot of trouble if you don't by the EPA. And honestly, why do you want to just, it can be recycled and it doesn't cost you anything. And if you're like me, you just visit these places, you visit auto parts places all the time. So just save yourself the hassle. Stop by and recycle your dang oil. Okay? Don't be a jerk. All right? Now, in this next part, you're all going to understand why we changed the oil in our vehicles, okay? Now, some of this could have been from the oil pan, but I'm pretty sure not all of it. Take a look at that. That's pretty nasty, okay? So do yourself a favor. Take good care of your engines, or otherwise they'll break down and they'll leave you stranded. So there you have it, folks. That's as easy as it gets with an oil change. Just stick to these rules and you should be all right. All right, I'll see you all on the other side.
And welcome back. Wow. Project Lena now has a fresh oil change in her. She runs smoother. I've noticed an improvement in her throttle response and even a slight improvement in her gas mileage. I've not figured up the numbers, right down to the minute number, but I've noticed little things since we've done that a couple of days ago. Again and again and again, changing your oil is the oil, that motor oil is the lifeblood of your engine. Take care of your car and they'll take good care of you. All right, well, there we go. Another video down. What? Oh, one of you got your hand up. A couple of you do. Oh, well, this does present a problem. You don't want to change your own oil. Too much of a hassle. Rather take it to a shop. Okay. Well, so much for this being a normal run-of-the-mill Prince Magnum video. All right, well, that's not a problem. In this next part, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the same video footage, and I'm going to narrate in exactly what you need to know when you take your vehicle into a shop, and it's still, in essence, is still do-it-yourself budget hot rodding. I'll see all of you on the second side of this.
Okay, folks, pretty much we're just going to reuse the same clip. I'm just going to say something different. Pretty much everything that you've seen in the video before, when you take your project into a shop, they're going to do the same exact thing. They're not going to be as meticulous as you might be, but you have to remember that these people are pressed for time. The more vehicles they do, the more money they make. So this is the trade-off. However, when you go in, a lot of them offer oil changing packages. This is all right for the casual onlooker, but you don't have to buy those packages. By going out and selecting the oil that you want to go into your project, just take it in with the oil filter and any additives that you want to add into your oil. They will just charge you for the labor. It's actually about the same amount if it's cheaper than buying the packages a lot of times. Basically, you can have the premium package, but do it for less. And at the same time, it actually is about the same price as doing it yourself. So either way, it's a catch-22. It's just that they're not going to be as meticulous, but you don't have to get underneath your car. So there's the trade-off. Now, remember, when I say select your own oil and your own filters, there are some people that don't like Fram filters, but, maybe that particular shop, that's what you're going to get if you buy that package. Maybe they use a type of oil that you're just not comfortable using in your project. Like with me, typically I prefer to run Valvoline. That's me. There's nothing wrong with any other oils out there. That's just what I prefer. But if for you, maybe you want Valvoline, but they don't put it in with those packages, by doing it this way, you have control of what goes back into your project. Along with, they will fill it up to the factory specs in the oil pan. They're not usually going to compensate for that extra amount to fill up the oil filter. That's why by taking that extra one in, you tell them, hey, make sure that you put this extra quart in, or half of this for the oil filter. They won't mind one doggone bit. If anything, they'll actually be glad that you did, because at least they know that they're working with someone who knows their vehicle and is willing to take care of it. A lot of mechanics do like that, or at least one mechanics that work in reputable shops. Now, if they give you any hassle at that front desk about doing it this way, take your vehicle to another shop, okay? It's that simple. Most shops won't mind to do it this way. They actually like, most of the ones that I take my vehicles to whenever I have it done by a shop, preferably I do prefer to do my own oil changes, but if I do have to take it to a shop, they actually like that. They like that capability. They're like, well, shoot, all we got to do is charge them for the labor. A little less paperwork for their people. Also, I'm going to stress this. I'm going to really stress this. Make sure that the shop that you take your project to, make sure that they do have a recycling program. Most of them do nowadays, but if they don't, get your vehicle out of there, okay? I don't do businesses with shops that do not have recycling programs, but everyone that I've ever been to, they do have a recycling program, okay? They'll tell you that automatically. It's just the way it is. Yeah, so just kind of bear all these things in mind. Just, remember that by bringing in your own oil and your own oil filter and any additives that you need, like if you're like with me with Project Spirit, I have to add oil additives because Project Spirit, her engine requires zinc, or otherwise it just doesn't lubricate properly. So there's just some inside info for you. Just bear all these things in mind, okay? Remember, a shop that, if you take it to a shop and they're glad that you're doing it, that's a shop you'll be willing to take your vehicle back to. If they're not willing to work with you on your needs like this, then you're not working with a reputable shop, and just get the heck out of there. So there you have it. Simple oil change. Again, from taking it to a shop perspective with a little bit more convenience in mind. So I will see all of you on the other side of this clip.
And welcome back. All right, there you go. Now you even know how to do your own oil change in a way, how to have more say-so when you take your project to one of your local shops, and make sure it's a local shop. You take it in there, you have more say-so in exactly how the oil change goes. All right, so there you go. There you have it. Do-it-yourself budget hot rodding with a spin. For all of you out there, I hope you enjoyed this. I really do. I really hope all of you enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed making the video. If you're, this brings us to the usual spot. If you are not subscribed to the Prince Magnum channel, you're missing out. You're truly missing out, okay? Hit the subscribe button, and if you hit that bell icon, you'll be notified every time we upload a brand new video. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, be sure to hit that like button. And if you've got any positive feedback, we're always open and welcome to it. Be sure to leave it in the comments box below. As usual, get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is, just do something with yourself. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet. And as always, for all of you out there, if nobody out there has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Almost using a cat.
Now take your ass on down to Oshag Hennessy's office right now and tell him exactly what you did. Get out of my goddamn classroom before I break my foot off in your ass. Insubordinate and churlish.